which turned out to be mostly wilted kale and decorative carrots. "Jeanne, darling," Compton said, gesturing to a bunch of radishes. "They're rustic. They're earthy. They're mostly attracting flies." Jeanne spent her days shooing away fruit flies and explaining to customers that no, they could not exchange their funeral lilies for a bag of organic granola. The trend, like most fads of the decade, eventually burned itself out, leaving Jack with a lifetime supply of carob and a deep, abiding appreciation for a real cheeseburger. Chapter 22. Honest Larry's Horse Sends. Larry Dallas walked into apartment 202 with the kind of grin that usually meant he'd either won the lottery or escaped a process server. He was carrying a newspaper and a pair of binoculars. "Jack, my man, I've got it. The big one." "The big what, Larry?" Jack asked, looking up from his homework. "A big commission. A big date. A big headache. A big tip. A horse named Cordon Bleu. It's a sign, Jack. A cooking horse. It's destiny." Larry proceeded to explain his foolproof system for betting on the ponies. It involved a complex calculation based on the jockey's weight, the horse's ancestry, and whether or not Larry had had a dream about a four-leaf clover. "I'm in, Larry," Jack said, his eyes lighting up. "I could use the extra cash. Maybe I can finally buy that copper sauté pan." The sure thing, of course, turned out to be anything but. They spent Saturday at the Santa Anita Park, Jack wearing a wide-brimmed hat to avoid being recognized by Stanley Roper, who Larry claimed was a regular at the betting windows. Cordon Bleu lived up to its name by being as slow as a slow-cooked stew. It spent most of the race admiring the scenery and finished so far behind the rest of the pack that the groundskeepers were already starting to sweep up. "Destiny, huh?" Jack groaned as they walked back to the car. "I guess my sauté pan is still a dream." "It's the system, Jack," Larry insisted, unfazed. The horse just lacked ambition. "Next time, we go for Fast Eddie. Eddie's got a vendetta." "Next time, Larry," Jack said, "I'm sticking to the kitchen. At least there, the only thing I lose is my dignity." Chapter 23. Shadows and Secrets. The power outage hit Santa Monica on a humid Tuesday night. One moment, the apartment was flooded with the artificial glow of the 70s. The next, it was plunged into a thick, velvety darkness. "Jack, Jeanne." Chrissy's voice was small and tremulous. "Right here, Chrissy," Jack said, his voice coming from the kitchen. "Don't move. I'm looking for the candles." They gathered in the living room, the flickering light of three mismatched candles casting long, dancing shadows on the walls. The silence of the city was eerie, the usual hum of traffic and neon replaced by the distant sound of the surf and the rustle of the wind in the palms. "It feels different," Jeanne said, leaning back in her wicker chair, "like the world has stopped for a second." They sat in silence for a while, the candlelight reflecting in their eyes. Without the distraction of the TV or the constant hustle of their daily lives, the air felt thick with things unsaid. "Do you ever think about the lie?" Chrissy asked suddenly. "Which one?" Jack asked with a soft laugh. "The one where I'm a maintenance girl, or the one that keeps us in this apartment?" "The big one," Chrissy whispered. "Do you think we'll be doing this forever?" "Nothing's forever, Chrissy," Jana said, her voice unusually gentle. "But for now, it works. We're safe. We're together." "I worry sometimes," Jack admitted. His shadow loomed large on the wall. "I worry that I'll forget who I really am. That I'll get so used to the act that the real Jack Tripper will just disappear." "You won't disappear, Jack," Jana said, reaching out and squeezing his hand. "We won't let you." The moment was intimate, a rare glimpse into the hearts of three people who were bound by a secret and a friendship that defied the norms of their time. They talked for hours about their fears, their dreams, and the strange, wonderful luck that had brought them together on Flores Street. When the power finally surged back, the sudden glare felt intrusive, stripping away the magic of the darkness. They stood up, blinking and feeling slightly exposed. "Good night, guys," Chrissy said, her voice back to its usual bubbly self. "Good night," Jack and Jana echoed. As they retreated to their rooms, the secret was still there, the lie was still intact, but the darkness had revealed a truth that was more powerful than any ruse. They weren't just roommates. They were family. And as long as the candles were lit, they were home. Chapter 24. The Roper's Second Spring. Stanley Roper was sitting on his balcony, nursing a lukewarm beer and watching the sunset, when Helen emerged wearing a dress that was noticeably shorter and more colorful than her usual attire. "Stanley, get up," Helen said, her voice brisk. "We're going out." "Out? Where?" "The races are over, and the wrestling's not until 9. We're going to a personal growth seminar, Stanley. Mrs. Gable from 100 for says it's transformative. She says it helps you reconnect with your inner youthful spark. My youthful spark went out in 1952, Helen, and I'm not spending $20 to find it. It's free, Stanley, and there's a buffet." The mention of free food was enough to get Stanley into his best and tightest leisure suit. The seminar, held in a community center that smelled of patchouli and earnestness, involved a great deal of deep breathing and partner-focused visualization. "Stanley, close your eyes," the instructor, a man named Moonbeam, said softly. "Visualize your partner as a blooming flower." "What do you see?" Stanley closed his eyes. "I see a cactus, Moonbeam, very prickly, and it needs a lot of water." Helen kicked him under the table. "I see a rock," she whispered. "A very stubborn, very gray rock that won't move even if you dynamite it." The seminar devolved into a heated argument about the utility bills, which Moonbeam eventually had to break up using a Tibetan singing bowl. "Well," Stanley grumbled as they walked back to the apartment, That was a waste of a good evening. I didn't feel a spark. Helen, I felt a cramp.